Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking shut up.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at a very, very nice ballroom. Frank Smith, did you have any part in organising this? Because it looks very nice, mate.
It looks quite expensive, to be honest. By the way, can I just say, can I buy you a mic cube? Because I'm really upset that they still haven't got you a mic cube.
We're all getting new ones.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, Umar, see, that one isn't a real mic one. That's like a little fake one that Umar's got over there. So
It's a fake mic cube.
The one that Eddie's holding. Like, it's not an IFL branded one. So
Amazing, that. Cool story, bro.
what is going on? Just talking absolute waffle when there's a massive fight week. Obviously, Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. Just talk to me for a very stressful 72 hours till we got here.
Stressful? What, for you? Was it stressful?
For yourself, I'm assuming.
It was all right. It was all right. We just roll with it now. We're used to it. But it was. There was a few days in there where we weren't sure where we were going to end up. AJ always wanted to fight, and I think we've ended up with a massive night on Saturday. AJ taking on Robert Helenius, as you said there. You got a stacked heavyweight card, top to bottom. Chisora against Washington, Hergovich against Dempsey McKean, Johnny Fisher's first title fight. You got Campbell Hatton, Maisie Rose, Brandon Scott, George Liddard. I think it's one of the best fights we've done, or best shows we've done, non-pay-per-view. Look at the depth of the card. And I have to say a big thanks to DAZN as well, our broadcast partner, for working quickly to make things happen. But yeah, excited and looking forward to getting going.
On Saturday morning when you got the news, was there any ever doubt in your mind that this fight night wouldn't still go ahead?
Yeah, 100%. Even, I'll be honest with you, even Sunday probably, there was some doubt still. We were always working to keep it going ahead, but there's a lot of work that goes in it, and effort and people involved to make it happen. It's not just a case of just, all right, perfect, we'll swap in this fire, all good, see you Saturday at the O2. So yeah, maybe Saturday morning, and it was Saturday morning. I know people have said it was Friday, it was Saturday morning. I woke up to the news. Some of the other guys were on the East Coast, so it was late, it was like 1 a.m. UK time or something like that. I woke up to the news. But yeah, the first day or so, I think there was some concern or worry about, is this going to be possible? But we got there, and that's what we do. We make it happen one way or the other, and yeah, it's going to be a big night.
I spoke to Gerald Washington yesterday. He said it got to a stage where he thought it was going to be real close to fighting Anthony Joshua. I know his name was in there with Kabayel and Helenius. What was the final factor into going with Robert Helenius?
Look, there was a lot of factors into all the decisions. There was a lot of people came forward for it as well. You imagine as soon as we announced it, you had every heavyweight, bridgerweight, cruiserweight, maybe some out-of-shape light heavyweights as well put their name forward for it. It's a huge opportunity, but you have to make a decision based on, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of people who say, I'll take the fight, but with no understanding of what's the money. I could say I want the fight, but I might want 5 million to do it. And it's like, thanks very much, Frank Smith, we're on to the next one. Robert Helenius has been in there with some big names. He's obviously fit, he's been training for a long time. He had his comeback fight last Saturday. And I think he's a good choice. You're going to get a lot of people draw comparisons to the Deontay Wilder fight, but he went in there with Deontay Wilder, who everyone knows is a massive puncher. How many knockouts has he had? 30 something? Deontay Wilder, late 30s, and he went in there and he actually went to have a fight with him, and he got caught by a big shot. It's heavyweight boxing; it could happen to anyone. But I think it'll be a decent fight, and it's kind of fight AJ needs as well. And we expect a big performance from him.
Is it important not to draw comparisons with however this fight goes on Saturday to Helenius' performance against Deontay Wilder?
I think so, but people are going to. That's the truth. People are going to naturally compare it. Look, I hope for a big stoppage performance. We hope for that in the Franklin fight. He went out there and delivered. He won almost every round in that Franklin fight. The key is to get the win, though, at the end of the day. And set up a massive fight towards the end of this year, early part of next year.
Logistically, was it ever going to still be DAZN pay-per-view, or as soon as Helenius was locked in, you knew you'd have to do it as kind of your normal subscription fee?
No, we were working back and forward with DAZN throughout. It depends as well on the kind of opponent we came up with. It's always going to be difficult to find a pay-per-view, level opponent at that notice. But yeah, look, we have to thank DAZN, as I say, because they worked very quickly, over 48 hours to come up with a deal and a structure that made sure the event went ahead.
Was Derek Chisora's name ever thrown in there?
I spoke to Daryl a bit. The key thing is with Derek's obviously managed by 258 and AJ, which is AJ's business, but they've been long-term friends. They've been close for a long, long time. So I don't think it was ever too likely, but, Derek would fight anyone. That's what we love about Derek.
100%. And with Anthony Joshua, was there any discussion about him not wanting to fight? Because realistically, he could have left that, maybe stayed to fight Deontay Wilder in January, or Eddie Hearn said yesterday about maybe having a fight in October, November. Was it always going to be this date in his mind?
He was always focused on this date, because we've got to remember as well, we announced it quite late. I think we only announced it 6 weeks ago, sold out within 2 days of announcing the show. The show had sold out, so it was always his focus to keep it on this date, even when it was last minute. Then he didn't want to change it, and when he got the news, he was focused on fighting, committed to fighting. He's had a long training camp, he's trained very hard, and yeah, that was always what he wanted to do. Obviously we had to find the right person for him to fight, and everyone's going to have their view on who that right person is and whether Helenius is the right person. You're not going to win with everyone, but I think it's a decent replacement.
Do you think that Anthony Joshua will have a bigger point to prove after all of this kind of commotion over the past 3-4 days? It must have rolled him up.
I think he's just focused as he always is. I don't think in his head he wants to fight. He wants to get in there and show a strong performance. So I don't think it should change the way he approaches the fight. He's trained for a long, long time, as I say. But, he always wants to deliver a strong performance, and he also wants to. He's been learning new things. This is his second fight with Derek James. We saw a lot of improvements in that first fight. People will have their view, but he went in there and he, like I say, won every round nearly against Jermaine Franklin. I think he's always got a point to prove, but I don't think that the fact it's the opponent change will change his mindset.
We know you were offering refunds. Has many people taken you up on that offer?
No, it's very low, to be honest with you. I actually expected small numbers because, I feel that it's still a great heavyweight night of boxing and people want a night out. And we're actually still selling tickets. So when we get refunds, we're still selling a load of tickets. So I'm confident we'll have a packed out O2 Arena on Saturday night.
Close to a sellout still?
Yeah, very close, very close. I mean, we released 87 production holds last week, or 100 production holds last week, and they'd basically nearly sold. Then this news came, and we're getting refunds, but like I say, nowhere near the numbers people. I read the internet. I love Twitter. All these experts about everything saying we're going to get about 7,000 tickets back. It's lucky we do what we do and they stay on Twitter.
You touched on it earlier on in the interview that you did get the news on Saturday morning, or early hours Saturday morning, shall we say. We've got to speak about Eddie Hearn versus Simon Jordan too. What did you make of your boss having it off with Simon Jordan once again?
I think he scored an easy win in there, an easy win. But I'm not sure if Simon will be calling him up again. He doesn't want to go 3-0 down, does he?
Eddie said a lot about facts, and Simon doesn't know as much as he makes out to in boxing. Is that true? And have you spoke to Simon Jordan at all?
I've never spoken to Simon Jordan in my life. Just a few tweets. I'll just have a laugh. I'm just bantering, really. It's all a bit of a joke for me. The thing is, he speaks like he's like the Bible, and everything he says is the truth, when really a lot of it's a load of shit, as we found out yesterday. So, I don't mind if you state facts that are 100% factual, no problem. but you can't just lie. And the problem is everyone then believes him, goes, oh yeah, Simon Jordan, yeah, listen to what he said, when he quite clearly saw yesterday. Like what he was trying to do, I know he came out and said, no, I was trying to commend you. He was trying to say we knew on Friday and we announced it on Saturday. No, we didn't. We found out on Saturday and we announced it within time of everyone talking to each other on the time zones, within a couple of hours of that. So, is what it is. We move on.
Just to confirm, though, you did speak to Robert Smith on Saturday, not Friday.
I spoke to Robert Smith at 10:48am on Saturday morning. I know that because I screenshotted it yesterday. People said I made up the number, but no. And Robert will confirm that, I'm sure, if you speak to him.
Excellent. I just want to get your thoughts on just a couple more things. Richard Riakporhe pulling out of the purse bid against Jay Optaia. Obviously, we know you've just signed Jay. What did you make of that, and do you draw similarities with that to the whole Fraser Clark fiasco?
Yeah, look, I'm disappointed for Richard Riakporhe because I like him a lot. I've known him a long, long time. We've obviously worked with him for a while, and I've always had a good relationship with him. I've always tried to help him, and be honest with him throughout, whenever I've spoken to him. Like even when that's been during, over the last couple of years since we haven't worked with him. You have to wonder what these people are getting told, because why would you pull out of a world title shot? And the reality is, let's just speak very openly again. Boxer Ben SHALOM didn't want to lose a purse bid again. That's the reality of it. It's not for the benefit of boxing. It's not for the benefit of the fighters. You come in with this messaging of we want to work with everyone. We want to work. We want to change boxing. They pulled Fraser Clark out of the Fabio Wardley purse bid. They pulled Richard Riakporhe out. They don't want to lose purse bids. Fair enough. Come out and say that. Don't put it on the fighters, because you're making the fighters look weak, like they don't want to fight. You're ruining people's careers. It's embarrassing. But let them do what they do. It's what they're good at.
Eddie was very animated yesterday, and he said he actually hates it. I think that was his words. Is it holding back British boxing when you're stopping like a big domestic British heavyweight title fight, stopping the chance for potential another English world champion?
100%. But again, that's what I say. You can't come in with this messaging saying we're here for the good of the sport, we're here for the boxers. It's a load of shit. Just be honest. You care about yourself.
Last thing, Eddie, just drawing back to the interview done with Coogan yesterday, he said that it's looking like there still could be a pay-per-view on DAZN at the back end of this year. Looks like it could be Conor Benn. What are the chances on that? And is there any pressure from DAZN to make a pay-per-view?
Look, we had a very good, we've been talking to DAZN a lot, obviously very recently, working through the schedule. We got a stacked schedule coming up, some massive shows announced, some more shows we're announcing very soon. Of course, we want to look at making the biggest fights possible, 100%. And we're still working on a few options for December and hopefully some news soon.
If Conor was to have that mega fight in December that Eddie hinted at yesterday, would he have a fight in the interim just to get him out?
Look, we'll have to see how the next few weeks go. But I think the focus will be going into a big fight. But let's see.
Frank Smith, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV without a mic cover. But hopefully next time you will have one.
Joe Pugh, thanks very much for speaking to Frank Smith. See you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.